It's not my fault. I was only gone for an hour. I can't believe I lost everything. Are all phrases spoken by a person that has just experienced a major, major catastrophe in their life. What's even more frightening, they experienced it in a place where we consider ourselves often the most vulnerable. The place we call home. You see, most people that own their own homes carry some form of insurance to protect themselves. The other percentage of the population, which is those who rent, generally don't. In 2011, the Insurance Information Institute stated that only 29% of people renting actually carry renter's insurance. That's a frightening statistic, especially when you compare it with a statistic also taken from the Insurance Information Institute in 2009, where it stated there that the startup price for a renter's insurance policy on the average was only $15.33 a month. That's about the same price as for one of us to go out to the movies. That's not a lot of money. Which leaves us with an open-ended question. Why don't more people take out a renter's insurance policy? If you give me a couple moments of your time, you might be able to answer that question for yourself. Because it's simple. The ABCs, or the 1, 2, 3s of a renter's insurance policy can easily be broken down. It covers personal property, such as computers, electronics, furniture, clothing, even appliances that we own. In a nutshell, any personal property owned by the renter. Keep in mind, though, that what many don't know is that you do take a claim out through your insurance, that the adjuster in many cases will not pay you. He will not pay you full value for that property. He is only going to pay you that on a depreciative scale. But I don't know about you. I'll take a percentage scale compared to no scale at all. And what I mean by that is the fact that if I didn't have a policy, I, the renter, am left with the undaunting task of carrying the entire financial burden on these shoulders. And that's something I don't know about you, but I don't want to do. In any case, there are other reasons why people do carry a renter's insurance policy other than simple personal property. It can be generally summed up in one simple word, and that word is the word liability. No one wants to get left holding the bag. I don't want to get left holding the bag. Do you want to get left holding the bag? This is where knowledge is power. There are facts that you should keep in mind. Like eNotes, the website in 2012 states there is no federal regulatory agency that monitors the insurance industry. That is done on a state level. So you really need to understand what your state laws and what your rights are as a renter. This cannot be stressed enough. You need to know what your rights are and what you need to do to protect yourself as a renter. There's another statistic. The U.S. Department of Justice Bureau of Justice Statistics states that the crime of burglary is 79% higher, not lower, higher in rented properties compared to those that are owned. That statistic alone bears witness to why we should carry a renter's insurance policy. Crime often is on the rise. There are misconceptions out there. In my opinion, many of us know that when we sign a new rental agreement, or even we start a new renter's insurance policy, that before we sign on the dotted line, we understand that that is a legal binding document. We know that. If not, we should. We should also know many facts that come with signing those documents. For example, many people are under the assumption that when they rent, they are automatically covered by their landlord's insurance policy. This is not, and I repeat, not necessarily true. In fact, the website Rent Law in 2012 tells us the landlord's policy does not cover anything that is ours, the renters. Anything that yours is not covered. That is your liability. If I rent, that's my liability. It is not the liability of the landlord. On the other hand, of course, there are accidental mishaps that nobody can predict. Like, let's say a water main breaks in a building. Of course, then you are not going to be liable for that property. Of course, that's why the landlord does have insurance. Another little fact that many people don't know can turn their best friend into the worst enemy. It's happened before, and I'm sure it's going to happen again. So this little piece of knowledge that I'm about to tell you is power. Again, Rent Law in 2012 gives us another little snippet of information that we all need to keep in the back of our mind. We are liable for property damage and even injury to others. I'm telling this to you to ensure that you don't become the victim of someone else's accident. How many of you out there actually have clumsy moments? Yep, I'm sure I'm with the rest. I know I do. Things happen, even at home. Protect yourselves. Use this knowledge as power, and don't become a victim of someone else's accident. I hope by now, maybe perhaps, I've given you enough information that you can decide for yourselves why somebody might or might not decide to carry a form of renter's insurance. It's not about just the value. It's about how to protect the value that we hold the most dear to ourselves. And even how to protect the value of others. Today, tomorrow, and the next day. Don't become a victim. Use the knowledge and power. Become a good statistic. So when the next time somebody says to you, it's not my fault. I was only gone for an hour. I can't believe I lost everything. If that's you, you can at least say, it's okay. I am covered. And I'm not left holding the bag.